Welcome to the Jay and Rob Toy Show, and boy, the weather is a balmy fun degrees in the toy aisle. With me, as always, is my good friend Jay Bartlett, who I will call the J. Jonah Jameson to my Peter Parker. Jay, how are you today?
I don't want to be that guy. I'm great, my friend, and I'm glad to spend this time with you and everyone out there in TV land.
Talking toys is what we do, and today we are talking play sets. Now, this is a topic of passion for both you and I. First, I want to know, how would you define a play set for everybody out there that's watching?
It's the home for all your action figures. It's the centerpiece where most of your adventures take place from. Whether they're leaving the base to do the mission, battling at the base, yeah, I think it's basically the centerpiece. It's my favorite part of toy collecting has always been playsets.
Now the centerpiece, I would agree, it's certainly a big part of the world. I think playsets kind of take a chunk of that world that we know our characters from and put it in your living room. So they have that, like you said, that environment for your characters to interact with. But of course, a lot of lines have more than just one playset. So it's not just one centerpiece, you could have multiple ones. I'm thinking, of course, right away of like Masters of the Universe. You have Castle Grayskull and you have Snake Mountain. So now you've got two things going on there. You know what I mean?
And if you're a lucky kid, you have Eternia to connect both. And then way off in the corner, you have Hordak's Fright Zone, which we won't talk about that here.
Oh, the Fright Zone isn't that bad. Maybe something we can discuss if we talk about newer playsets we'd like to see. I would like a retake on the Fright Zone as well. That sock puppet and weird corner shapen piece rock thing just didn't quite do it for some of us collectors.
Well, the Fright Zone is such a fantastic castle, and I think it deserves better. But you know what? It's better than nothing, I suppose.
So if we're talking about play sets, let's talk about some essential things that they must have. What are three things, we'll go back and forth, that every good play set must have in order to be a successful play set? What's number one for you?
Oh, it's got to have a jail. Absolutely, a prison, whatever you want to call it. So you can interrogate your hero or your villain. I think most of the best playsets have this, or if they don't, they should. Right off the top of my head, I'm thinking of the Hall of Justice, of course, that has a really great jail in it. And of course, Mask's Boulder Hill playset. It's got to have a prison.
One of the things I think a playset absolutely needs is it needs to have that visual correlation to whatever it's tying into. If it's supposed to look like something from the comic book, the playset needs to look like that thing. If it has to look like a place from a cartoon, that piece of plastic better look exactly like it. Now, again, we'll go back to Masters of the Universe here, and we're gonna pick on Snake Mountain and the Fright Zone, because the playsets we got for Snake Mountain did not look like Snake Mountain from the cartoon show. And like you said, the castle for the Fright Zone in the She-Ra cartoon did not look like the Fright Zone we got to play with action figures.
You probably would know better than I would on Snake Mountain, but I don't understand why they put that face on it. I mean, it's got the snake from the cartoon, and that's really the point of reference I'm trying to make, is from the cartoon. But the rest of it was strange, and even the catwalks going up the side of the mountain seemed to be a little bit too small for the He-Man figures. The Fright Zone, I don't know. The imagination on that one is pretty small, in my opinion. You have the tree. I really like the tree. The puppet's okay. It's kind of, sectars-y. But there's not much else to it other than the jail itself. And it's really tiny. I feel like Hordak got ripped off.
What is one other element, Jay, number 2 on your list, that a playset needs to be successful?
I personally love when a playset is modular. I'm gonna throw 2 at you here. The G.I. Joe Command Center, the original G.I. Joe headquarters, was modular. You could put it all together, of course, to form the big command center, but you could break apart separate areas, and there was a landing pad for the helicopter that you could put wherever you want. That was really cool, because you could add, couch cushions and pieces of furniture and whatever else in between just to make it gigantic. Of course, Fort Carrium from Brave Star is modular. It's split into 3 different pieces as well. It just kind of extends it out. And Fort Carrium is also like a street too. So you can really use your imagination and stretch that out.
It's a good one because then it allows you to play with it in different ways. So if you're playing at a friend's house that doesn't have the kind of same living room as you can put it in a different place. You can rearrange it a bit. It kind of freshens up the battle, I think, and kind of just adds play value to whatever scenario that you guys are going to undertake on the next adventure of Brave Star or G.I. Joe.
Sure, yeah.
For me, I think another integral point is, and this comes back to more the business side of things, I think a playset needs to be affordable because you really can't have the playset as a kid unless your parents can buy into the value on it. And something like Castle Grayskull coming at $20-$30, that makes it a little bit more digestible versus something like the USS Flag at $100 coming out. That's asking a lot. And so if you never get to have the playset to play because of the price, that is a huge barrier to entry. Like, can you imagine playing with the LJN wrestling figures and not being able to ever convince your mom or dad to buy the ring because it was too expensive?
Yeah, and speaking of the ring, do you remember when we were kids, if you had the steel cage attachment, you were like the coolest dude ever. I never had that, but that was something extra to add on to the ring. So yeah, affordability is key, absolutely.
What do you think is another integral piece that a playset has to have? Your third on your list.
The third on my list would be an exclusive figure. Now, I don't have a whole lot of examples. I have two in particular. Again, we love talking the USS Flag. Back in the day, if you had the flag, you were a king. And because you had the flag, you had Admiral Keelhaul, where at the time, he was a mail-away figure later on down the line. But at the time, you could only get him in the biggest, most expensive playset around. So again, bragging rights to have Keelhaul. And the Fortress of Fangs, the 1983 Advanced Dungeons & Dragons centerpiece, if you will, came with a gargoyle that I think is a figure. You can also kind of, I guess, he could be a vehicle as well. But I think those two playsets are great examples of exclusive figures.
I think you're 100% right. I loved when G.I. Joe and other Hasbro lines in particular would pack in a figure. It's again that added value. Not only are you getting a piece of the world to put your guys all around and populate it, you're getting something that you can only get with that. It's kind of like how now Castle Grayskull for the Masters of the Universe Origins line comes with the sorceress. Like it just makes sense, and the character is integral to the playset, so it works on that level too. Like, why wouldn't you have the sorceress with Grayskull? The pack-in figure stuff, whether it was for vehicles or even playsets, like you're saying, is probably the best answer you could have given. Better than anything I got on my list, Jay. I wish we had more of that nowadays.
And going back to Grayskull as well, that sorceress is fantastic because she's all white. So no doubt down the line they're going to do a regular sorceress with the orange and the blue. And that makes the white one that came with Grayskull that much more valuable.
I agree. The last item on my list for an essential factor for a playset to be successful is scale. Now, this is a tough one because the bigger something is, the more expensive it's going to be. So it's got to find that sweet spot, right? It can't be too small that it feels like a mini set or like a diorama, but it can't be too big that you can't afford it. It's got to be big enough that you truly feel like you have a piece of the world there that you can put all your figures around it, and it's impossible to ignore. You've got to have presence, and presence really only comes with scale. Sometimes presence can come with action features like the jail, like you were talking about, or the modular ability, or lights, or missiles, or something that fire. But the bigger it is, the more it feels like the world is there, and that is the kind of play value that does it all on its own. Passive play value, maybe. And you can't beat the awe of Christmas morning when you rip open the present and the wrapping paper and you just see the piece of the world sitting there.
Absolutely. A great example of that would be Mask Boulder Hill playset by Kenner. This thing is gigantic within the world it exists in. So the figures are tinier. This thing is just big enough that you can carry it around, but small enough that it doesn't get in the way. And it really does justice. There's so many different compartments to Boulder Hill. You can go around the back. The front has all these traps and everything turns into guns. That one really is a perfect example of being affordable and not taking up too much space in the play area.
It's a really good sweet spot and a really great example. I think a second one from Kenner as well that fits just like that is the Superpowers Hall of Justice, because of course, Not only is it a really cool base, but it's also a carrying case for your figures as well. So you can kind of everything together, and it makes cleanup time for mom and dad a bit easier, but it also allows you to bring the play with you wherever you're going in one foul swoop. It's pretty hard to tear down the USS Flag or Eternia without breaking anything and bring it over to a buddy's house. But Boulder Hill, easy to travel. Hall of Justice, easy to travel. Even Grayskull with the handle on the back, easy to travel.
Yeah, to your point, Castle Grayskull, Snake Mountain, and the Crystal Castle, they all fold up, so you can really tuck in all the figures, and they got a handle so you can take them to your buddy's house. I mean, the mixture of carrying case and playset, it just unfolds. It's just ingenious engineering.
Hello, my name is Motu Joe, and today we're gonna take a look at possibly one of the greatest playsets of all time, Castle Grayskull. This bad boy is the first release Castle Grayskull, and there's a few identifiers that you can kind of look and tell, but really, overall, this is the guy. This is what started all of this off. First of all, you have a working door, which the peg still is in mine. Comes down, look at that. It's so freaking cool. So we've got the inside, but these accessories here, these are what I thought made the set so cool. And this little blaster is a little bugger. This blaster is super hard to find, super difficult to find, because it always goes missing. But you got all of these accessories with this. When you got this, I'm just gonna leave it unattached for now. Make sure you can see this. You got the ladder and you got the weapons rack. Not to mention, you had a functional elevator. So that's really cool. But the feature that is probably the standout, and it's seen in every single Castle Grayskull that you're gonna see, is the trapdoor function. As a matter of fact, Mattel has a patent on this trapdoor functionality to where when this swings, not only does the floor fall, the floor from the top floor falls. I'm just kidding. All right, so Castle Grayskull number 2, commonly referred to from the 2000X version of He-Man and Masters of the Universe. This is our Castle Grayskull. It is probably most widely considered the least favorite, mainly because my generation didn't play with toys at this time, and the kids that were playing with toys at this time didn't play with this. Ready for this?
The spirit of Grayskull awakens.
That's so cool. Inside, you would open up, and there was obviously some decks up here, and there was a independent jail cell that would have been down in this area. But what's cool, let's turn it over here, is that you had these little platforms that flipped out. This also flips down, but it's not necessary for the demonstration. And then you had your control panel right here. And the control panel allows you to do certain things. It's still on. So here we go. We push it once.
Trapdoor armed.
Trapdoor? What? There's a trapdoor? Yes, there is a trapdoor on this one, and if I hit it again, I believe, yep, it just did it. It's a little sound, but you can hear it, but there's no weight on it. And if you do that, the trapdoor actually falls down. It's so cool. There's all these electronics within this. And this is the classics version of Castle Grayskull. And it's really hard not to like this Castle Grayskull. It is, I don't think many would argue that this is probably the most attention to detail, and oddly enough allows for a ton of playability on a line that really you didn't have a lot of adults playing with. This is the inside of the classics Castle Grayskull. And I mean, I said it earlier, but you can get an idea of what they did. This is so freaking cool. There's so many features on this. This particular Grayskull is difficult to pick one. You do have the back door here. I love that. You do have a compartment up here where you could, your secret compartment. The Grayskull door still works. The trap door, I said Grayskull door, but I meant the trap door here. Trap door works. You have the elevator function. This one doesn't require a string to pull. It just has the force, a friction on it. You have the dungeon, and inside the dungeon is the Well of Souls down there. All right, so here we have the Origins version of Castle Grayskull, and let's go ahead and take a look inside. First off, you see I'm sliding these little hooks, which allow us to open. What? All of this amazing awesomeness. So you have your pull way smoother than the other one. You've got a bigger computer monitor, but these little attention to details like fabric flags. I don't know why, but I love that little attention to detail. You can see here we've got our blaster cannon. You can also see another fabric flag. Love it. You can also see here that we have our weapons rack back. We have a flag. This time the flag has a sticker applied to both sides. It looks very much like the classics version with the base, but it's not. It's this. So it's for Origins. And the last takeaway, and it's really, really, really hard to ignore, is the Temple of Darkness Sorceress. It's an exclusive figure. You can only get it with the Origins Castle Grayskull. And it looks very much like the original figure from back in the 80s. Obviously slightly modernized, the Origins toy line, but with it being exclusive to this particular set, I do imagine at some point that figure is going to be kind of sought after. And also it's the first time we ever got a figure with a Castle Grayskull. So that's pretty cool to see that. There's a quick overview of the 4 different Castle Grayskulls that have come out over the last 40 years. And actually there is a 5th. So we're gonna give an honorable mention to the Mega Construx Castle Grayskull. You're gonna wanna take a look at that one. It's pretty amazing, but we'll do that another time. For now, thank you so much for watching the quick reviews of the 4 Castle Grayskulls, and we'll catch you next time.
Now, one line seems to be the subject of debate for some fans out there, and that is Transformers. Now, Transformers is one of those evergreen brands that have been around for a very long time, but I have never held the belief that Transformers have a playset in the same way that other action figure lines have a playset. We defined a playset as a piece of the world that you can put your figures in. It's a base where you can put people in a jail, perhaps. It's got scale. Transformers never had anything like that.
So I disagree with you there, Rob. I think the problem with Transformers is that once they transform, you no longer have the base. So if it's Trypticon or Metroplex, Fortress Maximus, even Omega Supreme, once they transform, yeah, there's no more hiding for your Autobots or Decepticons. But I think those 4 examples are playsets, especially something like Omega Supreme, where it sprawls out and you have kind of a train track. So you can kind of put all your guys in the center and have the rocket ship being the centerpiece there.
I just have to disagree like 100% with you because
I figured you would.
It's just another robot. Just because it's, you know, when it's not in robot mode, it's like, you know, Metroplex looks like the Autobot city. You can't put your guys in it. They just stand on top of it. Prime is still bigger than it. It's not a playset. You can't play with it. It's basically a model ship that could be in a glass bottle at that point. Just because it looks like the thing doesn't mean you can play with it. It's just like, hey, remember this thing? Oh, here it is. You can just look at it. It can't really interact or play at all. But here's the robot mode that also is not into scale with anything else. So I think Transformers has a huge scale issue, and that prevents it from being anything like that. Even with Unicron, the HasLab figure that came out, if you can call it a figure and not a giant thing, when it goes into planet mode, it's still not a play set. Even though figures should be able to go in and play in it, it's not. So Transformers doesn't pass the test for me. They can represent places that Autobots or Decepticons were in, but you can't actually play within the set like a play set at all. Well, it's that world famous sound, which means it's time for Action Figure Spotlight, but we're spotlighting playsets this time. You and I each have one, and it's not going to be easy just to hold off screen and whip into frame, Jay. So why don't you take a second, and I'll let you go first. What playset are you going to showcase for us?
Oh, goodness. Well, get this into frame here. This is difficult, my friend. This is the 1983 Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Fortress of Fangs playset by LJN. This encompasses absolutely everything we were talking about. Multiple rooms, trapdoors, hidden treasures. I can't tell you. You just lower the drawbridge here and there's a treasure chest. I can't tell you how many adventures, so many of my action figures from all different lines spent trying to get this treasure. This one really lets you use your imagination, and there's just blank rooms, which I also love, that you can kind of make into your own. The floor is made of lava. There is a ladder. There is a spike trap wall. And of course, that exclusive figure, that gargoyle or vehicle, whatever you want to call it. I would say, honestly, Rob, other than the USS Flag, this is my all-time favorite playset for all those reasons.
I remember you having it as a kid. I remember seeing it all the time in the background of our play adventures. It is a menacing looking thing. It stands out from across the room. All the little pieces, like every good playset has, like you said, the pack-in figure. It's just striking, and it's from a line that has a huge cult following, very pricey, very collectible, almost holy grail status when you can get it complete. So super cool choice, man. It's just awesome.
Yeah, let me just throw in there that this one is not complete. I'm missing a few pieces on it. And those pieces, my friend, are very pricey.
Well, you went with something that's a little bit more vintage, Jay. I have gone with something that is actually new. And we had talked about newer play sets, and we talked about the 6-inch scale. And I forgot that I actually have 2 play sets that actually are for 6-inch scale adult collector market. One, of course, is the Masters Universe Classics Castle Grayskull, which is just awesome. All the changes that they made from the original to that one. And of course, you can't talk Grayskull unless you're gonna talk Snake Mountain. So here is Snake Mountain. It's small and pocket size, as you can see here. It's very small. You can just put it wherever you want. Not a big deal. You know, big box. Look at all the pictures. There's all the dollies. It's phenomenal. Like you said, it has everything that you could want for in a playset. It has rooms, levels, play features, fun, and awesome detail. Because this is made for the bigger guys like you and I, right? We're adults now, and now we get that perfect representation of Snake Mountain that we want. They bring it a little bit back to the cartoon. They bring it a little bit back to the vintage line, and it's just so cool once you get it fully open and displayed, and your figures are there. Talk about an amazing piece, and it comes with, you know, exclusive little pieces that go in it too.
Super 7 really killed it with that playset because they kept the original vision and then they added the Filmation cartoon Snake Mountain at the same time. So they really hit both. It was just, I've never seen that in person. I'm so super jealous you have that, and I can't wait to see it all set up.
Yeah, I can't wait to get together and have our adventures with Grayskull on one side and this on the other side, because they're both going to be like huge fortresses to overcome no matter what team that you are that day. But Snake Mountain, again, this might be the last big playset we get for a 6-inch scaled action figure for the adult collector, because this baby was quite expensive and it has skyrocketed in value since it's been released. And it was made to order, so you can't find them anywhere. Well, that'll do it for another episode of the Jay and Rob Toy Show. Jay, this is the lightning round where I'm going to get you to pick between play sets and you get to eliminate one or the other. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready, yes.
Okay, Ghostbusters Firehouse or TMNT Sewer play set?
Ghostbuster Firehouse.
Snake Mountain or the Hive?
Oh, Snake Mountain.
Boulder Hill or the Defiant?
Boulder Hill, hands down.
You got every single one of those wrong. I couldn't believe that you went 0 for 3. What a way to end an episode.
I suck.